Next, Madam Speaker, I'm pleased to table a fairly lengthy petition about human rights in Eritrea, organized and signed by the Eritrean Canadian community, who are deeply concerned about human rights, the human rights situation in Eritrea, and also about attempts at foreign interference by Eritrea here in Canada. To briefly go through the points, they note how Eritrea has been ruled by an authoritarian, brutal dictator for the last 30 years with no constitution, no elections, no parliament, no freedom of the press, no freedom of movement and association. Eritrea has been called the North Korea of Africa. How Eritreans continue to flee indefinite military conscription, religious persecution, how hundreds of thousands of Eritreans have fled the country, how those who have managed to flee still face intimidation and extortion from representatives and agents of the Eritrean regime abroad. Their families in Eritrea are harassed and forced to pay tens of thousands of dollars simply because their children have fled. Petitioners note that the Eritrean embassy and other representatives of the diaspora have been utilized to surveil and monitor those in the diaspora, and various concerns have been raised throughout this petition about violence that is organized outside of Eritrea by the Eritrean regime. Petitioners also note the alignment of Eritrea's dictator with Vladimir Putin and the collaboration with Russia's aggressive agenda around the world. Petitioners therefore call on the Government of Canada to engage Eritrean political and human rights activists and pro-democracy groups, to take a leadership role among Western allies to challenge the Eritrean dictator's malicious conspiracy with Vladimir Putin, to do more to combat foreign interference in Canada by Eritrea, including rejecting the entry visas of those that are affiliated with the regime, to enforce Canada's asylum laws properly against those who provide.
May I remind the honourable member that we really just want a short summary of each petition and not the whole reading out of it. I know it's a lengthy one, but it does go into many details.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I do want to commend petitioners who have worked very hard to put many different items in this petition. I am summarizing it, but there was a great deal that is raised in this petition. They want the proper enforcement of Canada's asylum laws, and they want strengthened sanctions against human rights abusers, and they also want Canada to call for the release of imprisoned journalists, including Swedish Eritrean journalist Dawit Isaak, and 11 imprisoned parliamentarians, Petros Solomon, Mahmoud Ahmed Sharif, Haile Woldensi, Ogbe Abraha. These are political prisoners.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary, the Government House Leader.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. And I think the member who has probably tabled more petitions than any other member inside the chamber is very much aware of the rule that the member is supposed to capture the essence of the petition, not read and the length of the petition.
I did remind the Honourable Member, and I would like him to proceed so that other members can present petitions. The Honourable Member for Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan.
Madam Speaker, I hope partisanship aside, I can just briefly read the names of these political prisoners, because putting their name on the record is important to them and their families. The 11 imprisoned Eritrean parliamentarians, I read some of them already. Ogbe Abraha, Hamid Himed, Salah Idris Kekya, Estefanos Sayum, Berhaim Gebrez Gab Ihir, Astir Fezhazian, Germano Nati, and Baraki Kebreselassie. Petitioners want to see those advocacy for their release.